Alright, so so the topic of this video is basically a breakdown of serotonin and loosely surrounding addiction, and therefore that kind of thing. Um, so alcohol, like booze, that is essentially a serotonergic addiction, right? Like you take a drink of alcohol and you feel a rush of serotonin, or like some people they'd say, well, I need alcohol to feel more confident to go and do some things that I wouldn't normally do, or I don't know, maybe you drink to forget because you're so depressed. And funny thing, with serotonin and depression, they kind of go hand in hand like that. Um, you'll notice if you develop an alcohol addiction that your emotional state can go from, like, I don't know, you're puffing your chest out like a chicken, and then the next thing you know, you just you just crash, right? It is the serotonin crash, and you feel depressed, and the only thing that seems to get your goat going again is another sippy poo, right? Uh, the reason why alcohol, or at least the mechanism for which alcohol addicts, is specifically reliant on acetylcholine, another neurotransmitter that is also kind of a double whammy in the case of nicotine addiction or cigarettes, right? See, the nicotine is already addictive on its own. Like you'll feel the withdrawal inside yourself. Oh, I need a cigarette. I'm stressing out. I gotta have that. Right, but it's a two pronged approach. See, the withdrawal, the nicotine, right? You feel unease within yourself, but the acetylcholine here, it plays on memory, and so not only do you feel that withdrawal from the nicotine, but you also remember how to get rid of that because yeah, the alcohol, that alcohol, right? So not well, yes, but we're talking about nicotine. So the nicotine, it rides on the acetylcholine. Well, I guess you call them the cholinergic receptors of your nervous system, and so you'll feel the sting of withdrawal, and you will also feel a memory jolt. Oh, I remember. I need to have a smoke. Right. Now, alcohol is quite similar, but the serotonin receptor versus the cholinergic receptor is triggered, and uh, you'll find yourself exceptionally in that state that you gotta be in. You've got that confidence going for you. You need a drink, and then you take that drink, and oh yeah, you're so good. And then the acetylcholine comes, and it reminds you, hey, remember that time we felt great? Yeah, let's do that again, right? So serotonin, acetylcholine, they work together to create inside yourself an addiction. So acetylcholine, that's pretty fucky, eh? Is one of those weird neurotransmitters. Another one which is quite interesting, and it kind of pertains to the green stuff. You know what I mean? Anandamide. This neurotransmitter, unlike acetylcholine, actually causes you to forget. They learned this by they took a little mouse and they put it in a pool of water, and in the pool of water there was a little clear platform, and so what they would do is, well, the mouse is like swimming around in this pool, right? And the scientists, they waited for the mouse to find the platform, or they helped it find the platform just so that it knew that it was there. And acetylcholine stimulated the mouse's response. There's a place I can take a break right in the middle there. I know it's here somewhere. So they took this the mouse, I guess the control, and then they took uh, the other mouse and they gave it anandamide, which is found in marijuana, and so the mouse that didn't have the anandamide with its little test there, um, its acetylcholine was just going crazy. It just kept swimming in the middle looking for that platform, and it just couldn't forget. And this is pertinent because of its connotations with PTSD. And in PTSD, it is exactly that. You just have no ability to forget that traumatic stress, right? So the mouse they gave with the anandamide, it went and swam to the center, of course, because it remembered that it could break there, but it was gone. So then I was like, okay, well, forget it. And then I went and swam off and did these other things, and that's how we know that anandamide is the neurotransmitter that helps you to forget. Uh, so there's all sorts of really, really interesting endocrinological pathways that respond through addiction. You take cocaine and meth. They're similar, but they're a little bit different. What they do is the cocaine they'll release endorphin and dopamine into the brain there, but much like a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, the antidepressant and SSRI, much like that, they hijack the brain's ability to disperse these neurotransmitters. So what happens is the the cocaine, it'll interrupt the dopamine reuptake, right? And in meth it is an excess release of dopamine, and in any case, in both meth and cocaine, the body will react by releasing a monoamine oxidase A, and it's an enzyme that breaks down neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, etc. Um, uh, what endorphin? Yeah. So essentially, the reason why they call it chasing the dragon in regards to meth and like heroin, these types of things, is because you get such a wash of reward that your body's immune system, it releases this monoamine oxidase A into your the synaptic areas that just won't seem to get rid of that because the reuptake in the synapses, like they're going back and forth. It's activating and activating and activating, and you feel this wash of reward. And chasing the dragon, the sentiment, or the feeling rather behind that, is that because of the monoamine oxidase A, yeah, well, it's quite good at cleaning up dopamine and serotonin, all these other neurotransmitters, but it's so effective that it actually deteriorates your nerves synapses so that they can no longer absorb said chemicals into your nervous system in the future, because that's been destroyed. That's gone now, right? There's it's all right now. PTSD is a pretty interesting case for this. There is intrinsic factor. This is uh, released in your digestive system with your stomach, and it binds on to B12, kind of like this, and then it'll travel down into your intestines, one of which it'll be absorbed that way and into your blood, and it'll help your blood and your DNA, your genetic material, to continue to replicate itself. But you'll notice in a lot of vegans that they're unable to digest or like metabolize their blood and genetic material again, because the same process, the enzyme that went and cleaned up the endorphin in the case of cocaine and methamphetamines, well, a similar process happened, and your digestive system can no longer create intrinsic factor to bind on to this B12 to help your blood and uh, your genetic material to spawn, right? So what'll happen is, like, you're inside your bones, they might go in with a real sharp needle to take a look at your bones, and they'll take a look at your blood, your plasma, your blood cells, right? And oftentimes what will happen is that your actual red blood cells will grow so large that they won't fit through the pores of your bones, and they can't go in and out and into your bloodstream. And surprise, surprise, PTSD has a lot to do, or at least it has a general symptom of PTSD is digestive problems for this very reason, because the intrinsic factor isn't able to bind on with the B12 and get you going all well and good again. So not only is it, you can't seem to forget about the danger that you are going through. Let's say, well, they called it shell shock. So, there's bullets flying overhead, and it is very, very advantageous to remember not to poke your head up. Otherwise, you're gonna lose that. You're gonna die if you fuck around, basically. So there's a wash of information for you. So anandamide, something that's found in marijuana, is actually an excellent treatment for parts of the symptoms of PTSD, but it does not actually help repair the costs of having lived with PTSD, digestively speaking, because well, I don't know, like, if you're going and you're in fight or flight mode, like survival, right? You're hardwired, and your brain gets into this habit where you just cannot come out of there, and then it kind of goes into this infinite loop of any little sound will make you jump or just freak out. And in the early stages, marijuana is very beneficial because it has anandamide in it, and it can help you to calm down, forget all the chaotic, hail of bullets going on, and then you got to start worrying about digestive issues with the intrinsic factor, because part of this fight or flight mode, you've got your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system, and what they do when you're in fight or flight mode is they pull away the energy that you would normally be using to digest your food, and it pushes that energy into your legs to get the hell out of, Dodge. And because it just goes on and on and on, the nervous connections that go there, that they just have been built up for so long. Like you work out a muscle, it gets bigger, right? The same thing goes on with your brain, particularly relating to synaptic connections this way. The more you use them, the bigger they get. So if your sympathetic nervous system But well, for the sake of this, your sympathetic nervous system, it can't get out of this prey mode. So then your body just can no longer digest things, and by proxy, you get the enzymes that go in, and then they're meant to prune little parts of your digestive tract. In this post-traumatic stress example, the intrinsic factor, the enzymes come in and they will destroy the receptors that are there to be triggered on or off in order to release intrinsic factor into your stomach there, and to bind with the B12 that's found in proteins like eggs, milk, beef, chicken, meat, and you you suffer, we'll say. Anyways, tangent done. I hope you learned something very interesting. I've been holding this in for a very long time, and I just really wanted to get it out there. Hope you enjoy.